What is going on, you guys? This is West Coast Digital. I'm Isai, and with me today in sunny San Diego, as always, our board of commentators, the best from the West, Alex and Carlos. Everybody, glad to have you here. Let's begin.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our Super Bowl picks. So we're about 2 days away from the kickoff from Super Bowl 52, and I want to ask you guys, who are you guys gonna pick?
Obviously, I think most of America, other than New England, is going to be going for the Eagles. That is who I want to win the Super Bowl, but realistically speaking, my mind says the Patriots, but my heart says the Eagles.
So for me, man, like I said, the whole nation is going to go against them. Like, of course, man. No one wants to keep seeing the same winner over and over again. So, of course, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles, man. Like Alex said, the money's more where the Patriots are going to win. You know, might pull up a little check and cheat, but, I'm not quoting that. But, yeah, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
So it's safe to say, clearly, we're all rooting for Philly. But the question is, what do the Eagles need to do in order to fly high? You know what I mean? I honestly believe that if they can have a performance like they did against Minnesota, which, by the way, shocked the world, then I'm 100% confident that the Eagles will fly very high coming this Sunday. I'm calling right here, right now, man. That back four is going to get to Tom Brady and slow him down. This is a top 5 defense going up against a top 5 offense. Also, the Eagles defense is the number 4 scoring defense. Yes, I know I'm putting emphasis on the defense, but of course, Brady isn't the only person the Eagles got to look out for. I mean, they got Brandon Cooks. They got Danny Amendola as the number 1, number 2 wide receivers. They got Gronkowski, who is arguably the best tight end in the league right now.
He is the best tight end.
Excuse me, or as Alex says, he is the best tight end. And we all know that Gronk can make those major plays. I mean, he's the end zone target. He's the one that they look for to convert a 3rd and 12 situation. He's a machine without a doubt. And statistically speaking, Tom Brady tends to throw more touchdowns when Gronk is on the field than when he's not. Now, it will be difficult for the Eagles defense to watch out for all those guys, but their communication has to be on point. And they literally cannot commit any penalties, because if we learned anything from the Jacksonville New England game in the AFC Championship, it's that no team can afford to commit penalties against the New England Patriots. Now, I know that people have their doubts on the Eagles because it's a matchup between a backup quarterback and Tom Brady, but let's be honest here, Nick Foles has done a tremendous job since taking over for the injured Carson Wentz, and we can't forget that dynamic duo in the backfield. Both Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount have been real threats for opposing teams. Jay Ajayi seems to learn from his mistakes throughout the game and improves drastically. LeGarrette Blount I believe he is the go-to guy in the end zone, especially on the ground. Other than that, they also got a big guy named Zach Ertz, right? I mean, we can all agree that Zach Ertz is going to be a key component to the. Okay, excuse me. As Carlos says, he is the main component. I mean, he has 8 touchdowns this season in the red zone alone. 7 from Carson Wentz. Unfortunately, only 1 from Nick Foles. But he's the key to this offense.
The numbers do not lie.
This man is big. He's powerful. He can work against double coverage if he has to. And with Nick Foles, as long as he doesn't throw an interception when they're at the goal line or fumbles it and New England take it back to the house, then I really do believe that Philadelphia Eagles will fly high on Sunday. Alex?
I think, you've hit like a lot of major points. I think that when it comes to every football game, I think the key is always the team that turns the ball over less and commits the less amount of penalties who usually wins the game. I think the Eagles are really going to have to consider that play. I wouldn't necessarily say conservative, But the point is that Brady's going to get his. We've seen it time and time again in the Super Bowl. You just have to plan that. Brady's going to score. The Patriots, they're going to be up. And I think from a play calling standpoint, you can't go for these big plays that you're going to want to catch up. I think, and then I think we saw it in like the AFC Championship game, where the Patriots didn't really have a run game. I think it's going to be the same in this game. They're going to rely mostly on the pass. They're not going to run the ball that much. And so I think for the Eagles, who have basically the number one run defense, I think you just got to play with 5 at most 6 in the box. The thing that was really frustrating to watch in the AFC Championship game was the Jags would only send 4 after Brady, and every time we've seen Brady lose in the playoffs, he's not comfortable in the pocket. He's a pocket passer. If you only send 4 and you can get creative with it, do stunts, twist the blitzes and all that stuff. We've seen it where twice in the Super Bowl when they lost to the New York Giants, they had one of the best D-lines in the league. I think Jacksonville's D-line is better than the Eagles' D-line, but they're going to have to take advantage of all the opportunities when they have them. But yeah, it was just frustrating watching, and when you send 4 and it's not working, then you have to send more. No matter if you're going to leave one of the receivers, maybe uncovered or whatever. Because if you do not get to Tom Brady, you will not win. You will not beat him. As for Nick Foles, I think, like I said, when it comes to the Eagles' game plan, I think they need to play somewhat conservative. Don't turn the ball over. These 2 running backs, they've had fumbling issues in the past, so they're gonna have to rely on switching them out, make sure they're not tired, make sure they're hanging on to the ball, both LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi. Quick passes, nickel and dime them down the field, get their defense tired. But also you might have to score quickly, so I know it's not good to give Brady the ball all the time, but everyone gets tired eventually. So I think it's just kind of the game plan for the Eagles to, and I think one key thing, I'll leave this off. I think when it comes to covering Gronkowski, I think Malcolm Jenkins is going to have to always be on him. He can play in the box. We've seen it before. We've seen it all this season. Spread the D-line out, let him get upfield, and I think it will be the key to victory if you can, get to Brady and don't turn the ball over and don't have as many penalties.
I mean, I'll agree with you on the Philly defense. I mean, for crying out loud, they have a 48.3% play disruption ratio, which is, I think it's pretty goddamn impressive, if I do say so myself. But Carlos, you said you chose Philly, so what do you think they have to do in order to beat New England?
Typically, to beat New England, I say the defense need to step up and somehow pray to God, pray to whoever deity you believe in, but they need to stop Gronk. 2-man coverage, even 3-man, you gotta leave someone open, to make that sack.
But you can't forget, man. Bill Belichick is known to be able to use every single man in his roster.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you cover Gronk with 2 or 3 guys, they'll find a way. I mean, I'm not trying to say that Philly doesn't have a chance. They do have a chance, but I think one-on-one, man-to-man coverage would be the best option against Gronk.
With Malcolm Jenkins on him the whole time. That's Brady's favorite target. I think Malcolm Jenkins is, the Eagles' best defender when it comes to stopping the pass. Have him, like I said, have him play in the box. He's proven himself to be able to play in the box. And I think just stop him Gronk. But I don't think double covering him or triple covering him is the answer. I think if you double cover him, that takes someone out, and Brady's just going to play a mind game. It's like, oh, Gronk's double covered. Okay, I'll give it to Edelman or I'll give it to Amendola.
Well, to correct you, Edelman will not be participating in Super Bowl.
I meant
52.
Brandon Cooks.
I mean, don't forget they also got Chris Hogan, who's trying to shake off that shoulder injury that he got back in Week 7, if I'm not mistaken. But Carlos, you were saying, what else do they have to do?
Also, too, even the backup quarterback, he needs to fill up some big shoes coming out with this game. Even though, if from what I recall, does he have any big game championship?
Not really.
Experience?
No.
That might take a toll on one man's mindset. But then again, he's going up against so-called the GOATs in football, and plus too with the GOAT coaching, Bill Belichick. So there's gonna be some good odds, against it. But this ain't impossible. There is always a chance to beat them.
Yeah, I think you made a good point about Nick Foles not having any playoff experience. Every time I've everyone picked against the Eagles these whole playoff rounds, with Carson Wentz not being in. But I think it speaks to a huge point that Nick Foles cannot do too much. I know he threw for 352 yards in the NFC Championship game, but if you give Brady an opportunity and you turn the ball over, he's going to take advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me or disagree with me, but Nick Foles, compared to Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady has a lot of more accomplishments in the postseason alone than Nick Foles has ever had in his career, we can all agree that Nick Foles is somewhat the better quarterback, or has been the better quarterback in the playoffs. He has a higher completion rate. He has a higher QB rating, which is surprising. So I think he's going into this game pretty strong.
I think when it comes to the stats, I think on paper, I think Nick Foles has been better this postseason. But if you've just been watching the games, I couldn't really watch the NFC Championship all that much. Like the part of the NFC Championship that I watched was when the Vikings scored first, and then I come back and all of a sudden they're down by like 21. But if you just watch them in the divisional round against the Falcons, like there are throws that should have been made by Foles. It's not the receiver's fault. It's just Foles didn't really put it on the receivers. I think Tom Brady can still make all the throws. It's just on paper, these playoffs, according to their game plan, they haven't really had him as in much of a role, even though he's kind of the centerpiece of that offense. So I think Tom Brady's still the better quarterback, and then Nick Foles just has to, not do too much.
And speaking of rating, I have a little quote here from one of our commentators who unfortunately was not able to join us, Adler. He's the only one in this panel that says that New England's going to win, and I quote, "I believe that New England Patriots will win the Super Bowl 27-23. Keep that in mind. It will be a close game. New England will have a tough battle up front. The Philly Eagles front seven. The Philly secondary will have a tough task with trying to confuse Tom Brady. In order for Philadelphia to have a great chance to win the Super Bowl, they literally have to apply pressure on Tom Brady. However, Tom Brady is, quote, the GOAT, though. New England has the emperor of the NFL in Bill Belichick. The New England Patriots, the offense have clearly improved. They've had 67 wide receivers, 63 offensive linemen, 46 tight ends, and 46 running backs since Tom Brady was drafted. Obviously, the New England Patriots will win because they know how to win with a variety of different players. I will take my odds with the team that knows how to win with different players, has the Emperor and the GOAT. Once again, New England Patriots win 27-23 and become the greatest dynasty in the NFL. So, opinions, thoughts. Carlos, let's start with you. Is Adler wrong? Is he right?
I mean,
does he have a good point?
He does provide some good points. Like coming from him, like a Steelers fan, he wasn't biased, But so he does put out some good points, How that's a good prediction of the game. I would have predicted maybe flipping them the odds of the score. Maybe I would say, don't quote me, but maybe 27-30.
You heard it here, folks. First, ladies and gentlemen, Adler says that the New England Patriots will win the Super Bowl 52, 27-23. You heard it here. I'm not going to quote Carlos because you said not to. I don't know why, but whatever.
I mean, just in case, and I got to protect my reputation,
Protect your reputation. What reputation?
All right.
Alex, your thoughts on Adler's choice of words, I guess I should say.
So I think he's, about 75% on the money. I think the one thing that's kind of misleading is the number of position players. 46 tight ends. Yes, that might be how many players at the tight end position they have signed since Brady has come into the league. But when you have basically Rob Gronkowski there for, I think he's in his 7th or 6th season in the league. And, he's been on the field like the whole time. Same thing with, I don't know if I should say this, but, Aaron Hernandez when he was with the team. So it's just kind of like numbers like that where Brady's probably thrown to, I don't know, 6 tight ends in his career, 7 with, efficiency. Guys who, you can't count Dwayne Allen as a weapon. He's just kind of there for special formations. I will say that Brady has had a revolving offensive line. Peyton Manning kind of did too. I would say Troy Aikman when it comes to, the kind of greatest quarterback conversation. I think Troy Aikman he played with the best O-line. But I think everything else that he said, I think I do have to agree with him. I think the Patriots have become the best dynasty the NFL has ever seen. Whether they do lose or win this game.
Suck it, Dallas.
I think it's a good point that that they have been able to do this in the salary cap era where, it's not the way it used to be where, we have the funds to, go pick this player, so we're going to go sign him. Like, everyone has to live within the cap. And to be able to, with Bill Belichick, to be able to pick up guys who were basically cast-offs with other teams and be able to put them together and win Super Bowls with them, I think is a feat that will never be topped. I honestly think after Super Bowl 100, I think the Lombardi Trophy will be changed to the Belichick Trophy.
Oh man! Oh! You heard it here, folks. You heard it here. Damn! I'm assuming you're saying this because Bill Belichick would be considered the best coach of all time.
He is the greatest coach of all time. I'm not going to say Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time yet. That's a different episode that we have planned. But I will say that Belichick is the greatest coach of all time for the reasons that I did list. And then so that's kind of my opinion on what Adler said. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news from NFL Memes Instagram page. They just released their Super Bowl 52 drinking game, so I'm going to read off the list.
Do not try this at home. I repeat, do not try this at home unless you are of age.
Except for our party, because we have an average IQ of like 40. Alright, let's go.
You ain't lying.
Alright, we're going to start it with, a Patriots fan calls you a hater. Take a sip. Chris Collinsworth says, quote, now here's a guy. Take a sip. The refs make up a penalty to call on the Eagles. Take a shot. You hear dilly dilly. Take a sip.
Me.
Bill Belichick shows any form of human emotion.
Impossible.
Take a sip. You see an Eagles fan wearing a dog mask. That's going to happen a lot. Take a sip. Take a sip. Someone at your party keeps calling Brady the GOAT. That's going to happen a lot at our party. Throw your beer at them. Tom Brady complains about getting breathed on too hard. Take a shot. Matt Patricia uses his number 2 pencil to write on his laminated play sheet. Do nothing because it's impossible. Justin Timberlake rips someone's top off during halftime. Spit out your beer. The Eagles headset mysteriously stops working. Take a shot. A small white guy playing wide receiver catches a ball for the Patriots. Take a shot.
Oh, of course.
You see a Steelers fan at your Super Bowl party. Shotgun your beer. It just lasted longer than they did in the playoffs. You remember the Cowboys aren't in the Super Bowl because they didn't even make the playoffs. Take a shot and laugh. Finally, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, chug your beer, set it down, and pray for the city of Philadelphia.
Interesting, Alex. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, we're not going to try that drinking game at our party, right? No.
No promise.
I mean, unless it's with Mountain Dew and Pepsi. Yeah.
You know how those Jews get.
Oh God! Disregard that.
Sorry.
Disregard that.
Sorry.
Disregard that.
Sorry.
Technical difficulty.
Sorry.
I just want, now that you mentioned that, I just want to say, you Adler, you can go suck it. Philly's gonna win this thing, okay? I'm going against you, Adler. I'm calling it. Philly's gonna win this game, 30-21. I'm calling it, okay? All right, moving on.
You never got my score.
Oh, okay. So,
Philly 20-17.
ooh, 2017. Carlos,
That was a good
We
year.
already discussed this.
we already
did?
covered this.
Yes.
You
30-27.
you bad
Right?
friend.
Yeah, so who do you think I would win? Who do you think would win?
Philly, you
Okay,
said.
just want to make sure.
I mean, what did we just spend the last 20 minutes talking about?
I don't know.
Why Philly's gonna win?
We'll be right back.
Disregard that, you guys. So moving on. Okay, so now I want to know. I want to know just one little thing in our Fast Pass segment in 30 seconds or less. What will it mean for each team if they lose the Super Bowl? Alex, take it away.
I think that the Patriots have way more to lose than the Eagles do. I honestly think Brady's legacy will be tainted. Not only did he lose to Eli Manning twice, I think like him losing to a backup quarterback against a very young defense. And I think the Eagles really have honestly nothing to lose. Like no one expected them to get here. Why not continue their underdogness and win it all? Like why not us?
Carlos, 30 seconds or less. What is this going to mean for both teams
Alright,
if
so-
they lose the Super Bowl?
Alright, let's start with the Eagles first. If the Eagles lose, that means no one's gonna drink for free. As one of the, so that the Eagles, the quota they're gonna buy all beer for everybody to win. But if they lose, non-stop memes, disrespect to the whole Philly nation, and
You think there's going to be memes about the referees having to do with the outcome of the game?
I mean, the internet never loses, man.
And
And if the Patriots win, more rings, Brady shows off the new bling. If they lose, Brady doesn't get a shiny little ring and a big trophy. Put in this big basketball.
All right, well said. And as for me, if Philadelphia loses, I think it's going to be a long ride home. I can say the same for New England. But with Philly, I think it's going to really come to question, okay, what if Carson Wentz was healthy? What if we did this instead of that? With New England, I think there might be a change of mentality with Tom Brady. Maybe he might rethink the whole playing until mid-40s or trying to go for another Super Bowl ring. I mean, the guy has already accomplished so much. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah. Alright, interesting. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, to finish off this podcast, up next, we are going to announce our predictions for the NFL honors. Alex, I'll let you take it away from here.
So, before me, I have, forgive me if I miss a couple of the awards. I have the NFL honors that will be announced Saturday night. And for each award, I have basically the 3 finalists. There aren't really a lot of finalists. They're just kind of like top votes. So we're gonna go through one by one, and we'll each weigh on who we think we're gonna win, and then kind of go from there. So first up, we have basically arguably like the most important award out of all of this, the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. The finalists are J.J. Watt, Greg Olsen, and Benjamin Watson. I think this isn't even close. I think J.J. Watt will be the winner. We all know what he did for Hurricane Harvey. He raised I don't know the exact figure on it, but I think he raised like $5 million in the span of like a week or two. So I think he just runs away with it. What do you think, Isai?
I have to agree with you. J.J. Watt has done a lot for his community, and I'm pretty sure a lot of that has to do because of his unfortunate injury that he got during the season. But yeah, Hurricane Harvey was a devastating national tragedy, and it's people like him that give the people of Texas hope. You know what I mean?
Moving on to you, Carlos.
It's kind of unanimous, man. He played a big part with Hurricane Harvey, even though he didn't play as much as this time of this season. But he makes up for giving more to the community.
I just want to give a shout out to all of these guys. Basically, anyone who kind of made this list for whatever award. But I think what Greg Olsen and Benjamin Watson did in their communities, I don't think that should shy away. I think they should also be recognized. Being nominated for this award, even being nominated by your own team. Each team gets a certain representative, and then it's dwindled down to the last three. So congrats to all these guys. I think you guys are the bright spot of the NFL. So next up, we're gonna move on to Coach of the Year. So the three finalists are Sean McVay, Bill Belichick, and Doug Peterson.
Alex, for those who don't know, who does Sean McVay
Sean
coach?
McVay is the coach of the Los Angeles Rams, and for those who don't know, I think we all know Bill Belichick coaches the Patriots, and Doug Peterson is the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Thank you. I think that's really going to help our listeners.
I think it's really going to help you.
Okay.
Whoa, this is impossible.
So, personally, I think Sean McVay will win this award. I think it's well-deserved in his first year, 31 years old, coming over from being the offensive coordinator of the Washington Redskins. I think he really helped Kirk Cousins. I don't think Kirk Cousins really suffered from him leaving as the offensive coordinator, but I think he definitely helped Kirk Cousins to where he is today. But he totally turned the Los Angeles Rams around. Jared Goff, the number one draft pick from 2016, he really came in his own this year. I think just overall, his football knowledge, and I think since he is young, I think he's really turning. I think he's spreading this knowledge of the game that it has turned into today. So I think Sean McVay wins this one hands down.
I'll have to agree with you on that. Young coach, you said 31 years old. And yes, I don't know what he did, but he turned the LA Rams around. I mean, if you recall, the previous season, they were, I want to say, kind of mediocre.
God awful.
Or quote Alex.
They finished 4-12. That's god awful.
Okay, but it's still better than the Cleveland Browns. Am I right? But yeah, honestly, he really turned things around. I mean, in one season, he produced the number one offense in the NFL. In my opinion, that's pretty goddamn impressive. You know what I mean? So I think he really does deserve that award. But I guess we'll just have to see who the public chooses. You know?
What do you think, Carlos?
Coming from that, you already said it. It's like it speaks for itself. The youngest, coach ever, NFL. And coming from that, that's like our football coach, 31 of years. So a guy like that going in, in the NFL, head coach, you got to give him some props for that, because that must be a hard thing for a guy like him, not having as much as all these other coaches like Bill Belichick and them. But he does it, man. He gets the job done at a young age, so he's going places, man. So who knows, man? I think he deserves that award.
You guys can disagree with me. You know that, right?
Okay. No, in all honesty, I kind of don't want Bill Belichick to win anything anymore. I mean, there's a lot of controversy in my opinion.
The NFL isn't a socialist system, he's saying.
But whatever.
No one gets a participation trophy.
Okay, I just don't want Bill Belichick to win anymore. Okay, point. But just that's it. That is final. Okay, caso cerrado.
Yeah, bring a little southern flavor to this podcast. Anyways, south of the border, different sport, different kind of football played down there.
That's why Chunk's building the wall.
Come on, man.
Leave politics out of this.
All right, so next up we have the Offensive Player of the Year. The finalists are Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, and Todd Gurley. I think Todd Gurley will win this award. The dude was an absolute beast. Was a huge reason why the Rams were the number one offense in the league. I think he really put some pressure off Jared Goff. I think later in one of the next awards we'll do is Comeback Player of the Year, and he's also not on this list. We won't reveal anything, but I think he deserves huge props for going through like a sophomore slump. So I got to give this one to Todd Gurley. What do you think, Isai?
I mean, I can see why Todd Gurley would be nominated for this. He did pretty well, or extraordinary, I should say. But I'm more on the side of Antonio Brown. I mean, he is very consistent every season. He's always over the 1,000 receiving yards per season, and he doesn't disappoint. He's always making plays. He's always just putting himself out there, proving why he's one of the best wide receivers in the damn league. I mean, he's always top 5, top 3 for crying out loud. And honestly, he's one of the best fantasy options out there,
Can I quote you on that?
I'm sorry?
Can I quote you on that?
Sure, you can quote me on that. I don't care.
Ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, I believe Antonio Brown should take this. But like I said, we'll just have to wait and see until Saturday night.
Cool, fair point. Carlos, what do you think?
You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
I want to give it to Tom Brady, man.
Ooh.
Why you gotta do this, man? I think I'm about to fight with you, man. Why you do this, man?
I mean, you're in my house. We can do this outside. But first, I gotta make sure my parents are asleep first. I don't know. But yeah, going to the Tom Brady effect. Everybody must probably hate the Patriots at this time of the year. Always going to the championships, always doing this and that. But what's the reason behind that, man? Behind that, it's coming from the quarterback. He has all this pressure on him, and of course with all the guys helping him out, man. And plus with the big injury he had with the hand, I think he's going through a lot right now, even at old age. We're the oldest, quarterback in the league. So, I think this man should get it this year.
Yeah, fair point. To see what he's doing at 40 years old is, kind of unseen. So I think that's a fair point. So next up, we're gonna move to the other side of the ball, and we're gonna predict the Defensive Player of the Year. So the candidates are gonna be Calais Campbell, Aaron Donald, and Cameron Jordan. Personally, I think it's gonna be Aaron Donald. The dude was a beast. Was a real focal point. Even last year, when the Rams weren't that great. I think Aaron Donald was the real star last year, and I think he really doubled down even this year. So I think this one's kind of, I think it's the easiest award for me, honestly. So I'm gonna give this one to Aaron Donald. What do you think, Isai?
I have to look at the candidates again. I apologize.
I just said it, Isai.
I gotta go with this. I forgot the defensive
end. Let's see. Calais Campbell, Aaron Donald, and Cameron Jordan. Okay, I hate to disappoint everyone, but I have no idea who these guys are. I am not that knowledgeable in football.
Why are you gonna say that on the podcast?
Well, I'm sorry, man. You want me
Why
to
couldn't you just look up highlights before this?
Dude,
this man is unprepared.
He goes to nursing school.
Hashtag it down with Isai.
You have an idea how hard RN school is, man? I'd like to see you give it a try.
I would. Anyways, that's not what the people came here to hear.
Okay, I guess for the sake of it, I'll agree with you on Aaron Donald. Okay, Aaron Donald. Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's do this. Yeah.
What do you think, Carlos? Do you think?
Do you know the weight?
I do know the weight, and I go Campbell.
Calais Campbell. Do you want to evaluate that pick?
Yeah, I want to evaluate that pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars, right?
Yes.
So yes, as I remember, I actually watched a couple more games as him, where he's basically the first guy off the line for a defensive line.
Sure.
And of course, that plays a big effect for the defensive line. And when thinking about that, Jacksonville Jaguars, man, they did phenomenal. It can be for him. It could have been from the running back, but there's a reason why they're winning games. I believe defense wins games and even championship, but not like this past championship.
Now, why does that quote sound familiar?
Who knows, Isai? From my football coach.
Uh-huh. I think I'm pretty
the
sure.
other football Isai.
Not soccer.
The manly one, not the foot fairy one.
Okay, moving on.
Alright, so now we're going to move to Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I had to put 4 on this list. I think I couldn't just settle for 3. So, the candidates are going to be Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, and I think this guy really deserves to be on the list, Deshaun Watson. So let me just say this. This was probably the hardest pick I had to make. I feel like it's going to be Alvin Kamara, which is well deserved. The dude was an absolute stud.
Already, Carlos is disagreeing with you.
Wait. All right. So
I'll wait for my turn.
if Kareem Hunt didn't hit kind of like the slump that he did, where the Chiefs kind of struggled, I think he would have ran away with this. Leonard Fournette was an absolute beast. Really changed Jacksonville's offense.
He was the change.
Yeah, there you go. He was the change. And I think if Deshaun Watson stayed healthy, he would have ran away with this. No one would have been around him. But I have to give it to Alvin Kamara. I think he's gonna win this on Saturday night. The dude was an absolute stud. He was on my fantasy team, so he came up big for me. So what do you think, Isai?
I like the candidates a lot. Yeah, Alvin Kamara. I think he does deserve this. Kareem Hunt could also run away with this as well, but like you said, he did hit quite a stump with the Kansas City Chiefs. Slightly after midway through the season, I have no idea what happened. It just looked like everything just went downhill for him. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he was the leading rusher in the league, right?
I believe so.
For at least a good amount of time. But yeah, I'm going to have to go with Alvin Kamara. I mean, next to Mark Ingram, I mean, those two were a tremendous duo. Alvin Kamara, he can run the ball. Not only that, he can also play as a receiver. And that boy, he got a good future coming up. He has a lot of potential. I mean, he might be up there within the future Hall of Fame and whatnot. But it all depends on how the team is put together. But other than that, Alvin Kamara, I think he's going to take that all the way.
Yeah, it's. He's actually he was the lowest drafted in this list. I believe he was drafted in the 3rd round. All these other guys were. Oh no, Kareem Hunt was the 3rd round too. So Carlos, what do you think?
All right, guys, I gotta go with my number 1 fantasy player who I drafted.
Come on, man.
Hey, guys. Leonard Fournette, man, is my guy for this award. As you're saying, he did make some big impacts on the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. Did you see the game that they played against the Steelers?
Yeah, but Leonard Fournette, I mean, once he got that ankle injury, that's when it turned around, man. He didn't really seem the same. Obviously, that can be said for any player going through injury, but I mean, it's like all that influence just went down, and it looked like it was just up to the Jacksonville defense to win these games. I mean, didn't you just say that defense wins championships?
Yes, I did.
But that's not his fault, though.
But look at how that turned out against New England in the AFC Championship.
Man,
he still ran for 100 yards, a couple touchdowns. Yeah,
I mean, against the Patriots, man.
Yeah,
you gotta give him some credit for that.
Yeah, for me, this list is really close. I'm just saying, Deshaun Watson, he would have ran away with this if he stayed healthy. But when it comes to Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, and Leonard Fournette, they're very close. But I think the voters are actually just gonna give the edge to Alvin Kamara. So next up. Since you guys aren't very fond of defensive players, because you guys only get your knowledge from fantasy. So next up we have the defensive rookies of the year. So the candidates are Marshawn Lattimore, Tre'Davious White. He plays for the Bills. He's a cornerback. And then these two guys, these last two guys, I couldn't really leave either of them out. To round out the list, there's TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. Isai, do you want to weigh in first?
Yeah. Funny thing, I'm actually gonna go with T.J. Watt.
I also agree with you.
I'm gonna go with T.J. Watt. I mean, I think he really stepped in, especially after the horrific Ryan Shazier injury. He really stepped in. He took over that role, and I mean, he made impressive plays. I'm not.
They don't play the same position.
I know they don't, but he did. He was a huge factor in filling in that gap. I mean, the kid had a couple picks. I mean, he did pretty good, and he is one of the Watts. So
You gotta expect a lot from Watt.
I mean, that is a lot of pressure for a young guy like him with the name Watt, right?
What you said?
Like, so yeah, I think TJ Watt's going to take this award, or I would like to see him take this award. I mean, I think he's an excellent fit for Pittsburgh, and I hope to see him grow and develop as an excellent linebacker.
Carlos, you want to weigh in?
Well, Isaiah basically said everything I had to say, so
That's right.
That's it?
basically that's it.
Okay.
Oh, wow! That,
All right,
oh,
so-
wow! That was just wow.
I didn't want to repeat the same thing you said.
But it's the principle.
Okay, so here's the actual answer. I'm glad we got the silliness out of the way. I'm going to go with Marshawn Lattimore. I do agree with you guys that TJ Watt was an absolute force. I was kind of disappointed by Myles Garrett. Tre'Davious White, did a good job with the Bills. But I got to give it to Marshawn Lattimore. He basically completely changed the Saints defense. Like, they were basically like the laughing stock of the when it came to defense last year. The dude came in, had I think at least like 5 picks, and basically was the leader of the defense. So I just gotta give this one to Marshawn Lattimore, just hands down. Cool. So next up we have comeback player of the year. Now there's a lot of guys I had to put on this list. I think they all deserve recognition. They all had great seasons. Either last year they got hurt or they just had a disappointing season. So to start off this list, we have Rob Gronkowski, Earl Thomas, Case Keenum, Luke Kuechly, Todd Gurley, and Keenan Allen. Carlos, do you want to start us off this time?
Just like when he said, which you can't guys understand, but she said Keenan Allen. I gotta agree with her, man.
Do you want
I'll take it from here.
Do you want to weigh in?
Yes. So of last year, if you guys would recall, a horrific injury. He basically
lacerated Keenan. Yeah, that was gruesome.
Tore up his whole fucking leg, man.
ACL.
Sorry,
it was his lacerated kidney.
I'm pretty sure it was.
No,
wait,
that
who are we
was-
talking about again?
Oh no, that was the year before. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Kidney.
So yeah, the
Kidney.
ACL.
ACL, whatever, man.
Yeah.
You guys lost my focus. Oh,
Sorry.
so back to thought, man. Have you guys ever?
He's had that injury too, lacerated kidney and ACL. And yeah, I tore my ACL my freshman.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Keenan Allen, correct?
Yes.
Didn't he tear his ACL in both knees?
I don't think both. I think it was just one.
Because he cut, remember?
Yeah, he was cut. It's usually just one tear.
Okay.
But basically,
But it's still a tough injury.
Yeah.
To come back
I
from.
apologize.
As a receiver, when you got to cut.
And I assume that is the same injury that Deshaun Watson
Yes.
also except
It's
suffered,
it's
correct?
a very popular injury, not just in football, but in baseball and soccer and stuff like that.
But yes, it's a lot to overcome that. They see a horrific injury. And so now, as the season went on, you basically see all the improvement he made. So the catches, receiving yards, and now his first time in the Pro Bowl.
Cool. Isai, do you want to weigh in?
I'll agree with you that if Deshaun Watson was healthy, I think he would have taken away that. Excuse me, not Deshaun Watson. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. Keenan Allen is an extraordinary player. He really showed his talent this season. He was obviously the number one wide receiver for Phillip Rivers. He showed that he's still got the moves. He's still got the potential to keep developing into a great player. I'm gonna have to give this to Case Keenum. I mean, he took over for the injured Sam Bradford.
Had a terrible year in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and for crying out loud, he took the team to the NFC Championship, which, I mean, unfortunately they lost against the Eagles, but he showed that, hey, I am qualified to have the starting position for this team, this organization. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to be the starting quarterback next season. Is it going to be Case Keenum, Sam Bradford? I don't believe Terry Bridgewater has a place in that organization anymore, but we'll leave that for another episode.
Sure. All these guys, there's a reason why they're on this list. Earl Thomas, had a really, really nasty injury last year. He almost, ended up retiring from that injury. Todd Gurley, like we covered before, insane, like bounce back for him. Luke Kuechly had a really nasty injury against the Saints last year. I'm glad he's back, even though he was hurt a little bit. Gronk's gonna be Gronk. He's injured a lot, but he comes back from it. And like you said, I agree with your points about Case Keenum. I think he's proved himself. After being down in the dumps, it was easier for him just to say, "Hey, I don't want to play this game anymore." But I gotta give it to Keenan Allen. The dude. The year prior, before he tore his ACL, he had a lacerated kidney, which is nothing to play around with. Last year had a torn ACL in the first game. Guy's been heartbroken. He can't stay on the field. But then, there was a lot of doubt. Is he going to be the same? And I think he really proved himself. So I got to give it to Keenan Allen. And then last but not least, when it comes to the awards, we're gonna move on to the granddaddy of them all, the MVP. So. The finalists are Todd Gurley, Tom Brady, and Carson Wentz. So I'm going to start this thing off, and I'm going to preface this by saying if Carson Wentz stayed healthy, he would have won this award. It just sucks that he didn't. I assume he's going to win, maybe multiple MVPs, down the road in his career.
And come back.
Yeah, he might even be comeback player of the year next year. But when it comes down to Tom Brady and Todd Gurley, I gotta give the edge to Brady. We saw, the team didn't really struggle all that much last year without him during his 4-game suspension, but we saw that when he came back, he was a difference maker. And I don't think anything's changed this year, especially at the age of 40. He's just, proven everyone wrong that, he can play this game as long as he wants to. So I just gotta give this to Brady. So, Carlos, would you like to weigh in?
Well, as you basically said, if Carson Wentz would have stayed healthy, he would have probably would have won it. But this horrible injury he reserved basically just makes it more reason to give it to Tom Brady. And with that, I believe Tom Brady's probably gonna win it. He probably might even win 2 awards. But so as you're saying that, I feel like with Tom Brady, he's gonna get that award and plus even more. So with that, I gotta end it with that.
As much as I hate to say this, and I emphasize on hate, I think Tom Brady is going to get the MVP. I could have sworn. The hot topic this week in the news was I forget who it was, but this person was already seen with the acceptance speech for the MVP award for Tom Brady.
I saw NFL memes.
Yeah, follow NFL memes on Instagram.
It's the best thing you'll ever see in your life.
Exactly. We saw Tony Romo for the first time ever in the 3rd round of the playoffs. Am I right?
We wouldn't have had that drinking game without NFL memes.
Exactly.
I bet you
but
drink responsibly.
Tony Romo got to the playoffs.
But like I said, as much as I hate to say this, I think Tom Brady will win it, even if he loses the Super Bowl. I agree with you completely, Alex. If Carson Wentz was healthy, even if he lost the Super Bowl, he probably would have taken it all the way because he just did a tremendous job flipping this Eagles offense around and everything. Unfortunately, I have to say Tom Brady.
Cool. I think we're all in agreement there. Next up,
we didn't have a choice.
Dilly.
Dilly.
Take a shot.
All right. So next up, we're going to move on to the Hall of Fame picks. As everyone knows, there's always a lot of finalists. So I couldn't really include everyone. I think these are the guys, whether or not they make it. I think they all deserve to. There's a reason why they're on this list. And a lot of sadly, like a lot of the offensive linemen, they weren't really part of my time period, so I couldn't really grow up watching them. They're not like Trent Williams today. So the guys I'm gonna name off, I think I give them mad respect. So guys like Ty Law, cornerback for the Patriots. Don't want to cause any controversy. Dude was a beast. I didn't really get to watch him a lot. I'm only I don't know if I should say this, but I'm only 19 years old. So yeah, I think that dude's a beast. I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. A well-known safety, Brian Dawkins, played for the Eagles for a long time. Was in the Super Bowl the last time the Eagles actually played the Patriots. Nothing but respect for this guy. Hard-hitting safety, came to work every day. Very intimidating. I would not want to see this guy. If I was running a route over the middle, I would not want to see this guy. So just mad props to him. Next one, Randy Moss. A lot of people don't want him to be in the Hall of Fame.
Wait, why?
Just kind of like his character issues. When he was playing the Packers or whatever, he scored a touchdown and then he fake mooned the fans and all that stuff.
I think I remember.
Yeah. But I mean, the term getting mossed by someone that doesn't come from it. Nowhere. This dude, it came from this dude. He was one of the best. So just mad props to this dude. Another dude that's kind of disliked by everyone, but was just an absolute beast. T.O. Terrell Owens, my man. I don't understand why people give him grief for playing with 5 different teams, and that's hurting his Hall of Fame cause. Should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. Hopefully he gets in this time. Nothing but props for this guy. And may I quote him? That's my quarterback. Talking about Tony Romo.
Oh my god.
That's what he said. He said in that interview. He was crying. He's like, "That's my quarterback."
This is just breaking news. He's like,
jeez. So next up, we got Ray Lewis. Nothing needs to be. Yeah, even Carlos had the right reaction. Ultimate motivator. I remember, playing football before games and just listening, his motivational speeches. Hopefully doing the Ray Lewis dances and all that stuff. The dude's a beast. Played in one of the best defenses of all time, the 2000 Baltimore Ravens.
In all honesty, I think he was the defense, right? You
got guys like Ed Reed around him, one of the best safeties of all time.
But you gotta admit, without Ray Lewis, that just would have been a huge hole in the Ravens' defense. I don't think anybody could replace him. If I may say this early, I think Ray Lewis will get the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
For sure. And I hate how all these allegations come out about him of he's. I remember during the Super Bowl during his last year, during media day, all these allegations came out he uses human growth hormone and and they wanted him for murder or something like that, and I was like, it was just crazy, and I was like, it's funny that all this stuff comes out. It's when
isn't that a week before Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's just funny. I kind of use the whole when someone's running for office and all these things come out now about him. The week before the election, why couldn't this come out before? Because it's just fake. So I gotta give mad props to Ray Lewis. Next up, Isaac Bruce, part of the Greatest Show on Turf with the Rams. This man was an absolute monster. One of Kurt Warner's favorite targets. It just there's not a lot of words that can describe Isaac Bruce. So I just gotta give him the Hall of Fame nod. Next up, John Lynch, who's actually the current GM for the San Francisco 49ers. The dude was a hard-hitting safety. A dude who's actually from San Diego, so give him mad props. His son actually just is going to be graduating from high school in San Diego, and he's going to be going to Stanford. So it's going to be exciting what his son's going to do. And he's currently he's trying to turn the 49ers around. I think he's on the right path.
Yeah.
But when it comes to his playing career, the dude was an absolute beast. So I got to give it to him. Last but not least, one of the most imposing guys that you'll ever see play linebacker, Brian Urlacher. The dude's like 6'4", at least, like 250. Like, I would not want to see him if I was playing quarterback. I'd just throw the ball away if he's blitzing all the time.
Wuss.
But, I mean, it's surprising, that this guy came out of the University of New Mexico. Like, not a lot of, guys come out of that university.
I wonder why.
He was like a big student of the game, nothing but props for him. So that kind of wraps up our NFL honors. Hopefully you guys if you guys don't disagree, let us know in the comments. Let us know who we left out, and hopefully we got all of our picks right. So I'm gonna send it back over to Isai.
Thank you, Alex, for that intriguing segment. Be sure to watch the NFL Honors Saturday night. Carlos, you kind of motioned. You want to say something? You want to add on to what Alex was saying?
Yes. So, for Sunday's favorite activities, we'll let you know how this game continues. As Alex said, this drinking game where basically all revolving around Adler, how he's a Steelers fan.
Just be aware. No, we're not going to drink alcohol. We are underage. Just to make that clear, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's going to be just Mountain Dew and Pepsi.
Underage drinking is bad, unless you go to Mexico.
You'll go to hell.
All right. Is that all that you have to say, Carlos?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good.
All right, you guys. So we are going to move over. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Yes, let us know who we left out in any of the segments, especially for the NFL honors. Who did we leave out? Who do you want us to talk about more? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this. Don't forget to follow us. Share this with your friends. I mean, we're just a couple of guys just trying to make the time go by. Alright, you guys. So, I'm Isai. I got my buddies Carlos and Alex. We are West Coast Digital. And we are signing out now. Hasta la vista.